Angus here with Iron Bowl Fly Shop. Today we're going to be tying up Grizzly Peacock Bugger. Tying up woolly bugger is probably one of the most versatile patterns when it comes to fishing and even fly tying. It can be tied in a variety of sizes from say 2 down to a 12. Tied in a bunch of different colors and even different materials. Whether you want to do a hot head or collar, the different floss, thread color. You can also tie it with a jig, slotted bead, which makes it also a great pattern for lakes. So today we're going to be using a 3/16 plummeting tungsten bead in metallic red. And we're going to be tying this on a Daiichi 1720 in a size 6. So we're just going to start our thread here behind the bead, lay down a nice thread base all the way back to about the midpoint of the hook bend here. Just going to trim off the rest of our thread. Next we're going to be tying in our Marabou. So we're going to be using black today. And I want to pick a feather that's got fairly fine tips and a nice full feather. This one looks good to me. So we're just going to measure this as well. So we're going to do about 1 shank length, and that's going to be our tie-in point here. Just get a couple tight wraps on that, and we're going to start working our thread forward, building a little bit of a body. I'm just going to trim this off. Just going to wrap this forward to about the point of the hook here. Our next step here is we're just going to tie in our Krystal flash. Just going to be using Herl today. And I'm just going to trim off 2 pieces. It's very easy to add too much flash. So I'm going to take my 2 strands of Krystal flash here. I'm just going to fold it around our thread. I'm going to tie that in. I'm going to grab the 2 closest to me. I'm going to wrap those to the back of our tail here. I'm going to grab those 2 on the far side and fold those over and tie those back into our tail. So now we've got 2 strands on either side of our tail. You can either trim these after the fly is done, or you can just do it now. I usually leave about 1/4 of an inch behind our tail. Get them seated exactly where I want them before everything else is tied in. Next we're going to be tying in our UltraWire here. Today we're going to use gold in a size small. Just going to trim off about an 8-inch piece. So I'm going to tie this in at the top here. Just work my thread forward towards the bead. I'm going to leave a little bit of a tag end as well. It's about 1/8 of an inch. And I'm just going to fold that back. I think it helps just with durability. Because we're going to be wrapping our hackle with this, we don't want that to ever slip on us. So So I'm just going to get some good tight wraps on top of that. Even out my body a little bit here. Next we're going to be tying in our peacock herl. So I'm going to choose about 5 strands that are about 7 inches long here. Pick some nice full feathers as well. You can get some slimmer ones in a big pack, so I like to weed through those a little bit. So I'm just going to trim the tips off as well. And we're just going to tie these in all the way back to our tail. Because peacock herl is a little brittle, I'm just going to lay down a quick base of Zap-A-Gap. Again, it just helps with overall durability of your fly. And it really helps lock those feathers in place here. So I'm just going to start wrapping these forward here. You can use a rotary function as well. And we're just going to wrap these up to our bead here. And we're going to tie this off, get a couple tight wraps over top. And then we're going to come in front here with another couple tight wraps. Trim off our excess. Next we're going to be tying in our grizzly hackle here. So today we're just going to be using a Keough cape. And when I'm choosing a feather for this, I like to choose a feather that's got a little bit of a webbier appearance than your finer barbed feathers. So we're going to leave about 1/4 of an inch at the bottom here. We're going to tie this in concave facing opposite us. So when I wrap this, the shiny side will be facing the bead. So I'm just going to start wrapping this towards the back of our tail here. So to lock this in here, we're going to use our piece of UltraWire that we've tied in, and we're going to counter wrap it. So make sure to really get that wire nice and tight, because that's going to be the only thing that's holding our hackle down. And as I'm working it forward here too, I'm just trying to wiggle it through those fibers so it's not going to trap any of them as well. Just going to get a couple tight wraps on top of that here. And a couple tight wraps in front as well. We're just going to helicopter that UltraWire out. Save a pair of scissors. I'm just going to throw in a whip finish here. And we're going to do 2 on this one. Try and do 2 on all my flies it's the right size. Sometimes it's a little harder with smaller flies, but for this we can get away with 2. Trim off our thread here. I'm just going to helicopter out our feather here as well. There you have it. That's a finished Grizzly Peacock Bugger.